The production of this program is made possible thanks to the support of the following and viewers like you. British Columbians and Canadians are losing billions to online investment fraud, says Pamela McDonald of the British Columbia Securities Commission. The perpetrator of the fraud is artificial intelligence, and it's happening online. McDonald says these fraudsters hide behind layers of technology, and we can't get to them. It's offshore organized crime. To make matters worse, McDonald says the traditional enforcement tools of investigating, prosecuting, and sanctioning don't work in this environment for the Securities Commission or for any other law enforcement agency. That means as an online investor, you're on your own. The BC Securities Commission says self-awareness, diligence, and education are powerful defensive tools. The Securities Commission has produced an edgy, bold, and out-there public awareness campaign to help you and to draw attention to a problem that AI investment scams are creating. The Securities Commission has created a music video to raise awareness about the online scams it says are creating massive social harm. You can see the video online by typing in you can look up how to spell that. I invited Pamela McDonald to join me for a conversation that matters about the AI threats online investors are being bombarded with and what they can do to defend themselves. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Stu.
Does it concern you that everything that the Securities Commission has done historically to catch fraud and fraudsters is now protected behind layers of firewalls that can be happening halfway around the world that you don't have a jurisdiction in?
Yeah, it concerns us enormously. So typically we can, if we get information about potential investment fraud, we conduct an investigation, we prosecute through one of our administrative tribunals, and we sanction people either financially or by banning them from participating in the markets. But we can't do that in the case of AI investment fraud. These are people, it is offshore organized crime, as you said, and these are people that are perpetrating this fraud in other countries. It could be Myanmar, it could be Korea, other countries where we don't regulate people and we can't get at these people. So the best thing that we have in our toolkit to help people is to educate them, to make them aware of the problem and to give them the education that will help them see it, understand it, and learn how to protect themselves.
So let me hold up this album. There you can see how to spell it. It's a bit funny, and you did it as a vinyl long play album with a number of songs on here. What was the reason for doing this? And I know that you can also see it on get it on Spotify, and some you can type into YouTube and search it, and it'll pop up.
Yeah.
What was the point of doing an LP like this?
The harm that has been created by this kind of investment fraud through AI investment fraud is massive, as you said. It's creating enormous social harm. And to break through and reach people who are online in many, many different ways and many different channels, we had to do something that was a bit shocking, that would grab their attention. And so that's why we created a song, an anthemic song, sort of like the We Are the World song that fed into the emotion of the famine in Africa at the time. And we wanted to feed into the emotion that people are feeling right now about artificial intelligence. We know from research that 71% of British Columbians are worried about it as it relates to investment fraud. And about 50% of British Columbians just feel a sense of anxiety about it, and they feel that it is going to have a negative impact in their lives. And it is in many respects when it comes to investment fraud. So we wanted to create a campaign that was a bit shocking, but that tapped into that emotion, that zeitgeist of fear about artificial intelligence.
Well, the name is a little bit shocking, I have to admit, but I was thinking maybe you did that in an LP, old school vinyl, where you only got what was on there, and we had a responsibility to ourselves to go and investigate things. And maybe have we also, I don't know if you were sort of saying, reignite that in yourself. Anything that you see online, go do more investigation. Don't just jump at something because it looks so enticing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the message. You know, the song starts out, the video starts out feeling a bit negative, like we are all
blankety blank.
Blankety blank. But as you move through the video, it becomes much more positive and empowering because the message is you have control. You can do things to help yourself. Research these companies. Find out if that person that you think is real, that you've been talking to online, actually is real. So you have the power to control the outcome. Take a little time, do your research, go to our website, which has just a wealth of information that can help you become that more empowered investor and that can help you prevent you from becoming a victim to this kind of investment fraud.
The production of this program is made possible thanks to the support of the following and viewers like you. One of the things that I noticed in the material that you handed out is you said they're creating websites that, for all intents and purposes, you go, that's authentic. And how do you as an individual then see through that as to whether or not it really is, or is it a scam?
Yeah, and that's the trick. AI technology has become so sophisticated that it's very, very difficult to tell fact from fiction. And so you have to find out if that person is actually real. You can find out if they're registered to sell you an investment. So you can go to a website called aretheyregistered.ca, put in the person's name, and find out if they are registered to sell securities. Find out if they've ever been, you can find out if somebody is registered, what they have perhaps been sanctioned for, if they've, done something wrong in the past in terms of their behavior. We have on our website, bcsc.bc.ca, an investment caution list. And on that list, there is a number of companies and people who we think are suspicious. So that's something else you can do. But just find out, do those things, and they can help you discover if this person is real, if the investment is real, or if you could be making the biggest mistake of your life.
So on this list, it must be Canadian focused, because I don't know that you have the jurisdiction to list people or the ability to list people from around the world. Am I right about that?
Yeah, so we regulate, Canadian, British Columbia, the British Columbia market, but it will list companies and people in Canada who we think you need to be cautious of.
So I guess the next note to that is, if you're thinking about making an investment outside of British Columbia or Canada, proceed with an extra dose of caution, no matter what.
No matter what, but I think just if you're getting information from an online source, from a website, from social media, exercise enormous caution. Make sure that person is real. If somebody won't meet with you, that's a problem. So make sure that person is real. Investigate the company. Where is the company located? What does its balance sheet look like? What is it investing in? Who are the other people that are involved in the company? Do all that kind of research. And when you can be assured, are there other people who have invested in it? You might want to just go and talk to a registered investment advisor to get some advice before you make that kind of investment. And when you've satisfied yourself, then make the investment.
One of the other things that I noted that you said, well, they are using well-known personalities' images and then using AI to manipulate that as though that person is now a spokesperson for this organization. How do you see through that? Because I have to tell you that I've seen some things pop up online and I go, oh, there's a well-known actor, somebody that I like, and they start talking. And then after a few moments, I realize that's not actually them talking or saying this, but I've now been given the impression that it is. How do you see around that?
Yeah, we've all seen, Elon Musk or politicians or media personalities who are endorsing particular investments, and that's where you have to go and do your research into the investment again. Look into the company, look into the company's financials, look into its people. and make sure you are fully satisfied before taking advice from somebody that you see online that might be fake.
Yeah. If only it stopped there. Like, it spreads out in so many other ways.
It does.
You can get phone calls from people and you go, oh, this seems legitimate.
Yeah.
And I think that's fraught with even more danger.
Yes, AI technology can steal voices, and that's what it does. And so people are picking up the phone and thinking that they're speaking to somebody that they know or love. The best thing you can do is hang up the phone, meet that person in person, or call them yourself and make sure that they did just call you and that they've got a legitimate investment for you.
It's quite
frightening.
It is frightening. And then I saw they're using dating sites.
Yes.
Like,
they can create fake people on websites, and and people are drawn to them. But again, if those people won't meet you in person, you really need to ask yourself, is this for me?
the production of this program is made possible thanks to the support of the following and viewers like you. So what does this say about the world of online investing as an individual? Where do people go to protect themselves? Because a lot of people are doing it. They're saying, oh yeah, I'm into this. And I can cut out the broker and I can figure out how to do this. What's your word of caution around?
Well, the best thing you can do is do your own research. It really goes back to making sure that that company is legitimate, that that individual is legitimate and can sell you investments. And that's the best way you have to protect yourself in this kind of environment. Or go to a registered investment advisor. But,
right.
you know,
but that's usually the person that so many people are trying to say, yeah, but I want to avoid those fees
Yes.
or commissions.
Yes.
But really, they do provide that buffer, don't they?
They do. They do. And, talk to people about fees if you're worried about them. I think, often many times people are willing to negotiate fees. But that can give you a sense of security when you're dealing with a person who is registered, who is trained, who is knowledgeable, and can give you advice to protect yourself. And do that additional layer yourself of doing your own research on the company. As I say, go to our website, bcsc.bc.ca, and from there, we've got a great investor education section that has so much information that will be helpful.
Give me an example of what they'll find there.
You'll learn about how to choose an investment advisor, or if you choose not to, how to use a robo-advisor, or how to use a do-it-yourself platform, the difference between stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, what an RSP is, a TFSA, first home buyer savings account. We've got a great course called Get Started with Investing that just takes you through the basics and through to becoming a more sort of mature, sophisticated investor. How to make.
Let me stop you there. What are the basics?
So,
because I couldn't tell you what the basics are, because I myself have decided that because my son's on the business, he can look after that. But I don't really know what the basics are, and I think that a whole bunch of people don't either.
Mm-hmm. The first thing to do is to set some goals for yourself. Are you saving for retirement? Are you saving for a home? Maybe you're saving for a car or your children's education.
So know why you want to invest.
Know why.
Yeah.
Know why. Set those goals for yourself, and then understand, what's important to you as an investor. What do I want to invest in? And is it stocks? Is it bonds? Is it mutual funds or exchange traded funds? Do some research into each of those things.
Like what each one of those things means.
What do they mean? What's the
Right.
difference between a mutual fund and an exchange traded fund, for example? An exchange-traded fund is that basket of companies, but it's traded on an exchange. Mutual funds are baskets of securities or bonds, but they are not traded on a stock exchange. So understand what those things are, what companies appeal to you. People feel very strongly about certain sectors, right now. So understand the sector. And in that sector, what do you like? Is it the banking sector, the telecom sector, the mining sector?
The AI sector.
The AI sector. That's right.
What's so interesting about AI is that you and I can't really invest in those companies because mostly they're private placement. But it's the companies that are utilizing AI, such as Microsoft, Amazon, the big players.
That's right.
That you can invest in.
You can. And that's another thing to be cautious of. Often companies say they are using AI technology, but they're not. And so that's something.
I mean, they would. No, come on.
So that's something to be cautious of as well. And the other thing is understand your time horizon. You and I, we're a little older. We've
got decades.
And we can't afford to take the risk that we might have taken 20 years ago. But a younger person can afford to take more risk. So understand where you are on that time horizon and base your investments, on that.
The production of this program is made possible thanks to the support of the following and viewers like you. One of the things that I find interesting, and I think a lot of people don't think of, is they go, okay, I'm going to buy that stock. I want to see it go up in value. Rather than saying, well, is that stock a good investment, even though the price stays steady, but it's got a solid dividend history.
That's right.
And maybe that is the better and safer way for somebody to go, even though they're not seeing the overall value of their portfolio rising.
Yeah, the stock might just rise or go down ever so slightly over a long period of time, but those dividends keep coming in, every quarter. So is it that kind of a strategy you want? Do you want to put a percentage of your portfolio in dividend-bearing stocks? Do you want to put a small amount in something, more risky? And at a certain point in your life, as I say, you can.
So what happens if you feel like you've been wronged? Where can the BC Securities Commission come in? Let's say if you determine that this is something that has originated, particularly in British Columbia. What's the process that they would go through to say, okay, I've been ripped off? Yeah.
If you think that you have been ripped off or you've seen investment fraud, you should contact us immediately at inquiries@bcsc.bc.ca. And as soon as you think that, you should call us, because the sooner we have information, the sooner we can act on it by investigating, perhaps by bringing some, eventually a company or an individual before one of our tribunals and then sanctioning them. Mm-hmm. But the sooner you have that information, the sooner we can do something about it.
And do you have capacity, hopefully, if you can identify these people who have been perpetrators of fraud, to recover some funds?
Sometimes we can recover funds.
Mm-hmm.
But, fraudsters are, these are bad actors. They are bad people. They will steal your money. They will spend it all. They will leave the country. They will declare bankruptcy. And so there are sometimes many things that prevent us from being able to get money back to these investors.
It's devastating for people when that happens, isn't it?
If it's for somebody, maybe not you and me quite yet, but somebody who is retired and has put their life savings into something, they can't go back into the workforce and make that money back. So yes, it's utterly devastating. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, $5,000 is a lot to people. A young person, it can be, just very damaging. And there are all sorts of health effects that come into play too. People suffer from depression. It affects their relationships. We have people that have sometimes called into us and we have to get the police to go to their home because they feel suicidal. So it has that kind of an impact on people. So it's worth taking a little bit of extra time to understand what you're getting yourself into.
I have to ask, are certain kinds of people more prone to these fraudsters, or is it, are they non-discriminatory? They can get anybody?
Well, they can get anybody. And it's important to understand that anybody can become the victim of investment fraud. But there are certain people that are more vulnerable, younger people, younger men. They get a lot of information on social media, and they're more likely to be investors. Young men are more likely to be investors than young women. And they can be...
They're at that risky stage of
They
life.
are.
Yeah.
And they're particularly vulnerable. But anybody can become a victim of investment fraud. Certain personality types. So we've done a little bit of research into this. Some people who are, we call them tumultuous personality types. They're more likely to take big risks, to not check advice, to not do their own research, to not read investment statements, that kind of thing. So again, our website has, a list of these different kinds of personalities: confident, diligent, tumultuous. Sorry, there's a fourth one I can't remember off the top of my head. But so it's important to understand who you are and how you might approach investing.
Well, I think some people are afraid to push back. If they start to get a sense that something's not right, maybe they've started to creep down that path towards investment, and they're kind of into this relationship with whether it's some kind of online bot or artificial personality. But then they go, okay, now I'm afraid to start to ask questions that could reveal whether or not this is or isn't a fraud.
And we really find that in romance scams. People get just so drawn to these people who they're meeting online, and they are falling in love with them. And so they're unwilling to ask questions, and they feel that this person only wants the very best thing for them.
Wow.
And so you give your $1,000 or your $2,000, and then the person will disappear.
Wow. Okay, so to recap, what are the songs that are on here that highlight some of the different scams on this record?
On that great record.
Yeah.
So yes, we are all effed is one of them, but that wasn't created by AI. That was created alongside our great advertising agency. But there's 5 other songs, and there's Ponzi Paradise, the Deep Fake Shake, and 3 others that were created by AI, and they're very fun, but they have a very important message, each of them, about the way that you can get scammed.
And it's about drawing attention to the fact that you need to protect yourself.
Yeah, you are in control. You're in the driver's seat. And so do those things that you can do to empower yourself and make the best investment decisions, because investing over the longer term is going to be a great thing for you. I mean, if you want to put your money in a bank, okay, some people only feel comfortable with that. But sticking in the investment market over the longer course of your life is going to give you a much better financial outcome. And so be that safe, empowered, strong investor.
Have a long-term view.
Yes.
Yeah, because if you're looking for the quick payoff, well, the quick payoff is probably going to be that you're watching your money disappear in somebody else's pocket.
Markets fluctuate, and we're seeing that right now. So you have to steel yourself and be ready for...
Well, it's interesting, on this day, March the 11th, the markets are taking a pounding because of what's happening in the United States.
Yeah. But it will change.
It always does.
It always does.
Yeah.
And 5 years from now, it'll be a different story.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you, Stu.